Welcome back to Mindful Objective, the show where we explore health through an integrative and practical lens. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner and professor. In today's episode, we're talking about micronutrients. Last time we talked about macronutrients. This time we're talking about micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and those trace elements. These nutrients do not provide calories, yet they quietly control nearly every process in the body. Energy production, your hormone balance, your brain function, your immune response, detox pathways, cellular repair. None of these systems run properly without adequate micronutrient support. So, in our practice here at Mindful Objective, micronutrient deficiencies are one of the most common underlying patterns we see. People are often eating enough food, sometimes even eating what they believe is a healthy diet, yet they still feel exhausted, foggy, inflamed, stuck. Weight loss stalls, hormones feel unpredictable, sleep is poor, stress tolerance is low. These issues are often blamed on aging, stress, and genetics, but very often the root cause is much simpler. The body is missing key nutrients it needs to function efficiently. So, micronutrients are discussed in depth because they're not exciting. They do not come with dramatic promises. They do not work overnight, but without them, nothing else works well. Supplements, diets, workouts, and even protocols all depend on micronutrient foundation to be effective. In this episode, we'll break down what micronutrients are, why the body depends on them, how deficiency develop, how symptoms manifest, and how an integrative approach using food, supplements, functional lab testing can restore balance in a sustainable way. As always, this show is for educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. So now let's dive in. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals that the body requires in small amounts, but their impact is enormous. Unlike macronutrients, which provide energy in the form of calories, micronutrients act as regulators, activators, and messengers. They allow biochemical reactions to occur. They help enzyme function. They guide hormones, neurotransmitters, and even immune signaling. Every system in the body relies on micronutrients to operate. Energy production inside the mitochondria requires B vitamins, magnesium, iron, and other cofactors. Then you have hormone production and conversion depending on minerals such as zinc, selenium, iodine, even copper. The nervous system relies on micronutrients to transmit signals and regulate that mood. The immune system depends on vitamins and minerals to mount appropriate responses without excessive inflammation. Micronutrients do not work in isolation. They function in networks. Which one nutrient is low, it can disrupt multiple pathways at once. For example, low magnesium can affect blood sugar regulation, muscle relaxation, sleep quality, and stress response simultaneously. Then you have low iron. This can impair oxygen delivery, energy production, thyroid function, and even your cognitive performance. These wide-reaching effects are why deficiencies often present as vague, overlapping symptoms rather than a single obvious issue. The body has limited storage for micronutrients. Water-soluble vitamins such as B vitamins and vitamin C are quickly and need to be replenished regularly. So even fat-soluble vitamins, which are stored dependent on the proper absorption and utilization, when intake, absorption, and utilization is impaired, deficiencies develop over time. So one of the most important points when we emphasize at Mindful Objective is that micronutrient deficiencies do not require starvation. You can eat enough calories and still be undernourished. This is especially common in modern diets that rely heavily on processed foods, refined carbohydrates, and convenience items. Stop eating out of a box. These foods may provide more energy but lack the micronutrient density needed to support your long-term health. Micronutrients also influence how the body responds to stress. Physical stress, emotional stress, illness, intense exercise, and lack of sleep all increase that nutrient demand. If intake does not keep pace in that demand, deficiencies develop even faster. That is why high-stress individuals often experience symptoms that do not resolve with rest alone. When micronutrients are adequate, the body adapts efficiently. Energy feels more steady. Mood is more resilient. Recovery improves. When they are low, the body shifts into compensation mode. Stress hormones increase. Inflammation rises. Repair slows. Over time, this compensation becomes exhaustion, and probably all of us have been there. Micronutrients are not optional or supplemental to health. They are foundational. Understanding their role is the first step towards restoring balance and preventing chronic dysfunction. So let's talk about why micronutrient deficiencies are so common today. We touched on it when we talked about our current diets, but these deficiencies are widespread, even among people who eat what they appear to say they're eating a healthy diet. Again, this is not due to one single cause. It's a result of multiple factors that compound over time. One major factor is our food quality. Modern farming practices have reduced soil mineral content compared to previous generations. Crops grown in mineral depleted soil contain fewer micronutrients. Even when people consume fruits and vegetables regularly, the nutrient density is often lower than expected, and this means that higher intake is required to meet that same nutritional need. Another factor we deal with daily is that chronic stress increases the body's demand for micronutrients, especially magnesium, vitamin C, B vitamins, and zinc. Stress hormones accelerate nutrient depletion and increase urinary excretion, right? So these are very important to understand. People under constant mental, emotional, physical stress burn through nutrients faster when they replace them with diet alone, right? Medication is another contributor. Acid-reducing medications can impair absorption of vitamin B12, iron, magnesium, and even calcium. Metformin is known to reduce B12 levels. Hormone contraceptives affect B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, selenium. Statins reduce CoQ10 levels, which are essential for energy production. These effects are often not monitored or addressed proactively. So gut health plays a central role in that micronutrient status. Nutrients must be digested and absorbed before they can be used. Low stomach acid, enzyme deficiencies, inflammation, infection, dysbiosis all interfere with that absorption. People may eat nutrient-dense foods or take supplements, but still show deficiencies because the gut cannot process them properly. This is very common. We see in a lot of oat tests. So blood sugar dysregulation also contributes to nutrient. Elevated insulin levels increase urinary loss of magnesium and potassium. Repeated blood sugar spikes and crashes increase oxidative stress, which raises demand for antioxidant nutrients. Over time, this creates a cycle of depletion. Aging further complicates nutrient status. As we age, stomach acid production and digestive enzyme output tend to decline. This reduces absorption of protein, minerals, vitamins. Older adults often require higher nutrient intake to achieve the same functional status of younger individuals. So diet culture also plays a role. Many people have spent years restricting calories, right? Eliminating food groups or cycling through extreme dietary approaches. These patterns often reduce overall nutrient intake and create imbalances that persist even after that diet ends. How many of us are quick to jump on a new fad diet, see what it does, see how our body reacts? If you're not doing lab testing, do you deplete your nutrients, your micro and macro? So micronutrient deficiencies is rarely the result of just one bad choice. It is the result of cumulative stress, modern food systems, lifestyle demands, and psychological change. Addressing deficiencies require understanding these different layers rather than blaming individual habits. Now, how are you with your energy? Energy production is one of the first symptoms to suffer when micronutrients are low. This is because energy is created through complex biochemical pathways that rely on vitamins and minerals. Without these cofactors, the pathways slow down and become inefficient. Inside mitochondria, nutrients are converted to usable energy in the form of ATP. This process depends heavily on B vitamins, magnesium, iron, copper, and other micronutrients. Each step in the energy production pathway requires specific nutrients to proceed. When even one's missing, the entire process is affected. B vitamins, which we love, B vitamins play a central role in energy metabolism. They help convert carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into usable energy. Low B vitamin status can result in fatigue, weakness, brain fog, and poor stress tolerance even when calorie intake is adequate. Magnesium, which a lot of people talk about, is another one. This is critical for the body. It's required for the ATP to be biologically active. Without magnesium, ATP can't be used efficiently by the body. This means that energy may be produced but not effectively. Symptoms often include muscle tension, cramps, poor sleep, headaches, and that chronic fatigue. Iron supports oxygen transit and mitochondria function also. Low iron levels reduce oxygen to deliver to those tissues, impairing energy production throughout the whole body. This can present as shortness of breath, dizziness, cold intolerance, and exercise intolerance. Iron deficiencies do not always present as anemia initially, which is why functional iron studies are so important. Then we have copper and selenium. These also play important roles in mitochondria function and antioxidant defense. Deficiencies can impair energy production and increase that oxidative stress, further draining your energy reserves. When energy production is impaired, the body compensates by increasing those stress hormones. Cortisol and adrenaline start to rise and keep that body moving. This creates temporary alertness, but accelerates nutrient depletion and that exhaustion over time. Many people describe this as running on adrenaline until they crash. Supporting micronutrients helps restore true cellular energy rather than borrowed energy. This often results in steadier stamina, improved mental clarity, and reduced resilience on stimulants such as caffeine. You don't have to always drink coffee. Repair the body. Energy is not just about sleep and calories, it's about efficiencies of the cellular machinery. Micronutrients keep that machinery running smoothly. Now let's talk about your brain function, right? Micronutrients play an important role here. Most nutrient demanding organs in the body is your brain. It requires a constant supply of vitamins and minerals to produce neurotransmitters, regulate electrical signaling, and protect against oxidative stress. When your micronutrient status is compromised, cognitive and emotional symptoms often will appear. Neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and GABA depend on micronutrients for synthesis and for that regulation. The vitamin B6, iron, magnesium, zinc, folate are especially important for those pathways. Deficiencies can alter neurotransmitter balance, affecting your mood, focus, motivation, and sleep. Low magnesium and B vitamins are commonly associated with anxiety, irritability, and poor stress tolerance. Iron deficiencies can impair attention, memory, and cognitive process speed throughout your whole body. Zinc deficiency has been linked to mood changes and impaired taste and smell. But one of the things when we talk about the vitamins again is there's a lot of people that suffer from different kind of anxiety. And one thing that helped a lot of people was a B complex. Nice, easy fix. So the brain also relies on those antioxidants to protect against oxidative stress. Nutrients such as vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, zinc, those all help neutralize free radicals generated during that normal brain activity. When antioxidant defenses are low, inflammation and neurodegeneration risks increase. Micronutrients also influence blood flow into the brain. Iron, copper, B vitamins support red blood cell production and oxygen delivery. Poor oxygenation can contribute to brain fog, headaches, and reduced mental stamina. Sleep quality is also important. It's closely tied to micronutrient status. Magnesium supports relaxation and nervous system balance. B vitamins influence circadian rhythm and melatonin production. Deficiencies often present as difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up refreshed. Many people seek cognitive supplements without addressing foundational nutrient status to begin with. While targeted nootropics may provide those short-term effects, long-term brain health depends on adequate micronutrient support. The brain cannot function optimally without basic building blocks, right? Get back to the basics. Restoring nutrient balance often improves that mental clarity, emotional stability, and your sleep quality. May be gradual and take time, but it does improve. These changes are often subtle at first, but compound over time, step by step. Now let's talk about how it affects your hormones. Hormones are chemical messengers that regulate metabolism, production, stress response, even growth. Micronutrients are essential for hormone synthesis, activation, clearance. When nutrient status is compromised, hormone imbalances often develop or persist despite other interventions. Are you taking medications that aren't working? Maybe there's other things you need to do. The thyroid gland relies on iodine, selenium, zinc, iron, and vitamin A to produce and convert thyroid hormones. Know that low levels of these nutrients can impair thyroid function, which would lead to fatigue, cold sensitivity, weight changes, hair thinning, low motivation. Standard thyroid labs may appear normal while functional deficiencies exist at that tissue level. Again, conventional versus functional labs. Totally different kind of labs, different kind of lab markers look at different things. So again, you don't just run conventional labs, run also functional labs, which we'll talk more about. So adrenal hormones are influenced by vitamin C, B vitamins, magnesium, and sodium also. Chronic stress increases demand for these nutrients. When reserves are depleted, people may experience poor stress tolerance, dizziness, cravings, and irregular energy patterns. Sex hormones also depend on micronutrients. Estrogen metabolism requires B vitamins, magnesium, and antioxidants to ensure proper breakdown and elimination. Poor nutrient status can contribute to estrogen dominance, worsening your symptoms of PMS, heavy cycles, and even breast tenderness. Progesterone production relies on vitamins, magnesium, cholesterol availability. Low progesterone often presents as anxiety, poor sleep, cycle irregularities. Testosterone production relies on zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, and healthy fat intake. So micronutrients also influence that hormone receptor sensitivity. Even when your hormone levels are adequate, receptor function may be impaired by inflammation or your nutrient deficiencies. That is why hormone replacement alone does not always resolve symptoms, right? We're not against hormone replacement therapy. A lot of us are on it. A lot of people are on it. A lot of people don't need it that are on it. In Mindful Objective, we emphasize supporting nutrient status before escalating those hormone interventions. This approach often improves responsive therapy and reduces the need for aggressive treatment. Hormones work best when the environment is supportive. Again, get back to that foundation. Balancing your hormones is not just about adding or suppressing hormones. It is about ensuring that the body has the resources it needs to regulate itself effectively. Now let's talk about blood sugar regulation because that's also affected by micronutrients. Blood sugar regulation is influenced by more than carbohydrate intake alone. Micronutrients play a critical role in insulin sensitivity, glucose uptake, and metabolic signaling. Magnesium supports insulin receptor function and glucose transport into those cells. Low magnesium status is strongly associated with insulin resistance. Symptoms may include cravings, fatigue, muscle tension, and poor sleep. Chromium helps improve glucose uptake and insulin efficiency also. Zinc supports insulin storage and releases it from the pancreas. B vitamins help convert glucose into energy rather than storing it as fat. So when micronutrients are deficient, blood sugar becomes harder to regulate. This leads to swing in energy, mood changes, increased appetite. Over time, chronic dysregulation increases inflammation and that metabolic stress. So what you want to do is support your micronutrients, and this can improve your blood sugar stability even before making those major dietary changes. Supporting micronutrients can improve blood sugar stability even before major dietary changes occur. This often makes nutrition adjustments easier to maintain and more effective. So blood sugar balance is not just about restriction, it's about efficiency. Micronutrients help the body handle carbohydrates appropriately rather than reacting defensively. Functional labs help identify those early patterns and dysregulation, allowing for targeted support before more serious issues develop. Again, be proactive. Now let's talk about the immune system, how it relies on micronutrients. It's needed to function effectively without excessive inflammation. Vitamins and minerals support immune cell production, signaling, and regulation. Vitamin D influences immune balance and inflammatory control. Then you have your vitamin A that supports immunity. Then you have zinc and selenium that all play roles in immune cell development and antioxidant defense. And again, iron supports cell proliferation, but it must be balanced carefully. Deficiencies do not always present themselves as frequent infections. It may show up as slow recovery, lingering symptoms, chronic inflammation, autoimmune flares. The immune system may become underactive or overactive. It all depends on that pattern of imbalance. Micronutrients help regulate immune tolerance, preventing unnecessary attacks on healthy tissue. This is especially important for those autoimmune conditions which immune balance is disrupted. So what you want to do is support your immune by micronutrients. It does not mean overstimulation. The goal is regulation, activation. Balanced nutrient status helps the immune system respond appropriately to threats and stand down when no longer needed. Immune resilience improves gradually and nutrient stores are restored. This process takes time and consistently helps us build a stronger foundation for long-term health. Remember what we always say, food first, be realistic, right? Food is our primary source of micronutrients. Nutrient-dense diet is always our goal, not just supplements. You supplement after fixing your foundational issues with your diet. Whole foods provide vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytochemicals that work together. However, food alone is not always sufficient, especially in context of modern stress and environmental demands, but at least that's where you start. Nutrient-dense foods like organ meats, seafoods, eggs, colorful vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, high-quality proteins. These foods provide a broad spectrum of micronutrients in that bioavailable form. Absorption also matters here as much as the intake. Digestive health determines how much of what you eat becomes available to your cells. Supporting digestion improves the return on that investment of the food, right? If you're eating quality food, is it being absorbed properly? And you need to know that because, again, without the absorption, you're not taking those minerals in, those micronutrients, those macronutrients. But again, like we always say, perfection is not required. Consistency matters more than the ideal food choices. Stressing over food choices can increase cortisol and undermine nutrient status. Supplementation is what we use to help bridge those gaps. This is not failure. This is practical response to modern conditions. Food first means prioritizing that nutrient balance, right? Not rigid rules, right? Focus on food first. You want to have flexibility and sustainability. Those all support long-term success. But again, start slow. Focus on your food. then any kind of gaps that are out there, you address them with supplements. Again, food first. So now let's talk about the supplementation portion. Supplementation should be targeted, but it should also be intentional. Random supplementation can create imbalances or mask those underlying issues. More is not always better. Appropriate is better. Functional lab testing provides insight into nutrient status, metabolic patterns, and your system function. Testing may include micronutrient panels, iron studies, organic acid testing, and other assessments depending on your specific symptoms. These labs help identify patterns rather than isolated numbers. This allows for precise support and lower dosing with better outcomes because we know at that point exactly what you need. So again, at Mindful Objective, we use testing as a guide to guide those decisions rather than guessing. This reduces frustration and wasted effort, wasted money, wasted supplements. It also helps track progress over time. So professional grade supplements provide better absorption and quality control. Again, through our practice, you get 20% off retail pricing. Just go to the website and sign up. You do not have to be a customer, but you do have to sign up to get our discount. Supplementation works best when paired with appropriate food intake. Again, the food, digestive support, and lifestyle adjustments. It's part of a system. It's not a standalone solution. So listen to those symptoms as we move forward, right? Micronutrient deficiencies often speak quietly. Muscle twitches, poor sleep, headaches, cravings, cold sensitivity, hair shedding, and fatigue. These are all signals, not random complaints. Listening early prevents escalation. Addressing small imbalances prevents larger dysfunction later on. Healing is not about chasing every symptom. It's about restoring balance at that foundation. Micronutrients are a key part of that foundation. Progress is gradual. Energy improves, mood stabilizes, resilience increases. These changes compound over time. Small, steady support creates lasting change. I know a lot of this information was a lot to take in, but as we close out this podcast, know that micronutrients may be small, but their impact is profound. They quietly control how the body creates energy, balances hormones, regulates mood, and defends against stress. Without them, even the best nutrition plan will fall short. If you feel stuck, depleted, or frustrated despite doing many things right, it may be time to look at that foundation once again. Food quality, digestion, stress, nutrient status. Functional lab testing and targeted support can bring clarity and that direction that you need. You do not need to guess or experiment endlessly. You can build a plan that fits your body and your life. So again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We don't expect you to memorize all this information or have to learn all this, but you should learn the foundation of it, of what your body actually needs. Start with food, organic, grass-fed. You want to shop quality materials. You want to focus on the dirty dozen, right? Start there, right? You don't want food with different chemicals and stuff on it. If you need any help, you don't have to memorize this. Reach out to us. We'll gladly share information with you. So thank you for listening to Mindful Objective. Health improves when we work with one body rather than against it. Stay curious, stay consistent, and keep taking small steps forward. As always, this information shared here is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Speak with a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. See you next time. Stay well.